Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding this hearing. You know, we should be doing everything we can to help student loan borrowers repay their loans, and part of that is improving loan servicing. But if we want to make sure people can repay their student loan debts, shouldn't we start by doing what we can to reduce the size of their debt loads? Right now, the federal government is collecting loans at 6%, at 8%, at 9%, at 10%, and even higher. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just ask a question about whether or not you could talk about the impact on people if we refinanced their student loans down to lower rates. And I thought, Mr. Geremia, you might start that.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. It would be a wonderful opportunity for have the opportunity to refinance my student loan. As I move into my 30s and would like to begin a family and buy a home, I would like to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and you talked about, Mr. Geremia, you said you have a home mortgage, did you say? At what interest rate?
I do not have a home mortgage.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said you had a car loan?
I have a car loan at 1.9%
At 1.9%.
And many car loans are offered at 0%.
Yeah, although we want to be careful about those.
So, yeah. So
read closely.
Yeah. So it would make sense to me that maybe there are more options available to refinance at perhaps a lower rate.
Thank you. Mr. Hubbard, could you speak just a little bit about what the impact would be on people's lives?
Absolutely.
If we brought down the interest rate on student loans?
Thank you for the question, Senator. This is a huge problem right now. If you look at individuals who go into the service with existing debt to begin with, and then they're in the service, they have deployments, they have loss of protections, they're taken advantage of, and they can't even do anything about it. When you're in a combat zone, are you really thinking about your student loans? Probably not. That's a problem. On the back end, as you are potentially going for your education, you're, say, a reservist. You might not have the GI Bill, so you're taking out large loans. You're taking out those loans with very little information at your disposal, and you might have just been coming off active duty where it was very difficult to have access to anyone who even knew anything about getting that right information. So that makes it very complicated. You're not able to buy a house when you come out of your education. You're not able to invest in your retirement. That impact is when the GI Bill, the investment of the GI Bill is completely lost when you're mirrored in student debt. When you see what an individual can do without student debt, when they take advantage of the GI Bill, it's impressive. It really is impressive. You've got 25 to 30-year-olds buying houses for the first time. They're very young. They're investing in the future. And the impact of this is on the larger economy. But I would actually like to point out something that is not often looked at, and that's the issue of security. National security is a big problem with existing debt for veterans and service members. If a service member loses a clearance as a result of their high credit, their high student debts, that is a direct impact to the national security of the United States. So that's something that I think is worth looking at. One thing that is an issue that would be great, refinance would be terrific for service members. Unfortunately, the protections offered by SACRA are lost when a veteran goes to refinance their loans. And that's something that hasn't been addressed.
No, I think it's a very powerful point, and I appreciate it, because what we're talking about here is how the impact of student loan debt on individuals, and also, as you rightly point out, the impact on the larger economy. We've got studies now showing that it's causing people not to be able to buy homes. They're not able to start small businesses. They're not able to start their economic futures and build something strong. This is why more than 30 senators have introduced the Bank on Students Emergency Loan Refinancing Bill. We want to lower interest rates so that more people have a fair shot at getting started in life. I want to pick up on the point you made, though, Mr. Hubbard. You know, in March, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau put out a report analyzing complaints from veterans about financial products. And the report suggests that private student loan debt collectors may be making misleading or intimidating statements to coerce veterans into paying their debts, including threatening to contact a service member's chain of command or repercussions under the Military Code of Justice for failure to pay. And in March, the GAO released a report raising issues regarding the oversight of contractors who collect on federal student loan debt. Mr. Hubbard, are you concerned that the federal student loan debt collectors are also using military service members' service to pressure them to repay?
It's a great question, Senator. I'm not only concerned, I'm absolutely outraged. This is something that is unacceptable. The Sallie Mae case was a clear signal that this is not something that will be accepted in our society. When an individual goes into service, that is not an opportunity for a servicer to take advantage and abuse those service members because they don't have the right information. If you have an individual who doesn't have access to clear information and then somebody calls them offering what they believe is information, taking advantage of them, that's simply unacceptable.
Well, thank you very much. I remain deeply concerned that debt collectors for the federal student loan program are breaking the rules and misleading borrowers. If a borrower fails to pay a loan, the federal government should be able to collect, but contractors must be following the law and should not take advantage of people. I think this is an issue that deserves very serious attention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Warren.